Hey guys, welcome back to the Sunspot channel. We are going to take a look at the UK Game Expo in Birmingham top 8 deck profile for this particular video. I know this video is a little bit late because this whole thing actually happens 2 weekends ago. There was two things that kind of delayed this whole video. I want to do it as fast as possible. The problem is I do not have the deck list, and my wife, a big shout out to My Wife Hates Games. Gaming. Better go check. A big shout out to My Wife Hates Games for posting the deck list. Yes, I took your deck list. Sorry, I hope this is okay with you. The second reason is that I was up north for a wedding, so I wasn't in town. So without further ado, let's see each other after this short intro, alright? Alright, so welcome back to the video. This is the top 8 deck list for the UK Game Expo. So we're gonna take a look through them, and I'm gonna give a little comment, maybe inject some of my pointers, or we're gonna just take a look. Let's discuss and evaluate the deck list. Alright, so this is top 8. This is a deck by Peter Dance, and this is the Janimba Meal deck. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Maybe some parts would be that he uses further destruction champa. So one of the things I don't really understand about people is the reason why people are using Supreme, the E Supreme Kai, and then you get Rushak. Maybe I am wrong somehow, that I'm missing something here. However, if you take a look at this particular, I don't really see the reason of playing E Supreme Kai except that it is foiled, and in the past maybe that was a 3-drop and it was a 2-drop under 15k, so that you can bring it back by Child Wished. This you can't because this is a 16k, but other than that I don't see the reason not to, because this particular card, there is no way that this double strike does not kick in. Alright, so one interesting part about this particular deck is the amount of negates that Peter Dance here play. Yep, so he play 4-dimensional magic, 2 Wiz, and 3 Spirit Sword. So Spirit Sword is that if your leader is blue, you get to negate the attack and choose one of your opponent's battle card with 2 or less and return it to its owner's hands. I would imagine that Peter might be thinking that there will be, when it comes to this particular format, it is a pretty good card, because if you're talking about, if your opponent is playing Boros, if your opponent is playing things like the Wiz, Godly Destruction Wiz, that is 1 cost and does not allow your you to untap, this card can be very good. So maybe this is a really good card for sideboarding. However, it does not put it into the drop area. That means the opponent has the ability to use it to play it again out from his hands. Alright, so take note that because this is a negate itself, that means this card is the battle card is returned to your opponent's hands during his turn. That means he can slap it down almost immediately, because you know there is no you could go back to main phase any point of time. So if your opponent runs out of energy, he swings with his leader, your Spirit Sword brings the thing back, and then you kind of make your opponent needed to play that card again and again. I would really love to talk to Peter regarding this, that how effective he finds this particular card. But other than that, I would think that this might be a good card. Subjective conclusion is still out there. Alright, so let's take a look at his sideboard. His sideboard, nothing special. Yep, nothing much special. The main board has no ability to except for Dimension Magic, alright, but the main board has no ability to really self-awaken yourself. So maybe he is playing Awakening Talent Pant, that in case you are playing against Victory Strike, you should put it into, he would sub it up into the main board. I would really recommend at this particular meta right now that Awakening Talent Pant should be in the main board, but you know, he made it into a top 8 with this deck. That means that this deck by itself, it's pretty good. But other than that, I have nothing much to say about this deck except that he plays one-time God Strike Beerus. If you don't know what this is, it's for 2 energy. When you combo with this card, because this card needs 2 energy combo, choose up to one of your keyword, choose one of the keyword skill of your opponent's battle card, negate it for the duration of the turn. Yeah, that means that when your opponent swings with double strikes, triple strike, triple attack, or things like that, he combos and he combos and he combos, you play this and then you said triple strike, I remove it. The difference between this and group leader Pilaf is Pilaf has to be played on the counter window. That means the opponent knows it, that his keyword skills are negated or removed before we move on to the combo phase. For this particular thing, if you're playing defensive wise, which I would argue that you only play defensively, your opponent does not know. He might commit his whole hands to finish you off, but then if you have this guy in your hands, you just remove the triple strike, your opponent has no cards in his hands, and then you just only take like a 1 life. Yep. So it's a pretty good card, especially when you are trying to play very defensively. Yep. So far so good. Let's take a look. Oh, this. I'll be able to do it like differently. I don't know. So this is Nathan's Hill, top 8 again. Summon Goku, Born of Friendship. This is the blue version. Of course, with this token red, we don't really discuss about token red, right? So let's take a look at his deck. His deck is somewhat really interesting. However, nothing out of the ordinary also. I would imagine that he, with the configuration that he has, he is more prepared for things like against his own, you know, against Son Goku, vanilla Son Goku. So he's planning for Kid Goku because this particular guy, it's so good, he takes the card away from the game. That means into the warp. So when you have things like that, where you know, they could use Power Burst to bring the card back into their hand and recast it. However, with the Marseillan, you could just remove it out of the game. Even for this guy, can this guy brings it back? Oh yeah, this guy can bring it back, so there's no discussion. I'm sorry, my mistake, but this guy can bring them back, but still good enough because this guy can remove them everything at one go. So if he has 2 of this, 2 of this, they are gone. 1 of this, 2 of this, 1 of this, they are gone. So he can remove many against a Kid Goku matchup. This guy, it's really good. Of course, he have things like Bardox. Bardox is this is for the big guys like the Broly. So when he plays, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle card with energy 6 or more and send it to his warp just for 5 overrealm, right? And of course, he is prepared for against green and blue with, instead of playing Mercenary Tile, he plays Haru Haru, which is against like a blue, green and yellow, and it's pretty good. It's definitely one of the crazy cards when it comes to green and yellow, because you get to untap 1 for 3 energy. You get to untap 1 because you get to untap 4, right? So you get to, it's the cost is just untap 1 and then you get to swing at your opponent, and then you get to Mewtwo. The reason why you might want to Mew is just so that maybe you could get the Son Goku, Born of Friendship, the 1-drop, the black 1-drop into your drop area that you can bring it back with your Power Burst. If you want to, there is no need to do that. Alright, and again, he is playing Furthering Destruction Champa, which in my opinion, right now, after Child Wish is banned, is definitely the better card to play. Alright, and other than that, nothing much. This guy plays With Sangoku, you really need to awaken at as fast as possible, so that you get the mega card draw, because you get to choose 2 cards and then you get to discard 1. So you go through your deck much faster. When it comes to Janemba wise, you said, okay, they would meal, you are helping to meal it, but trust me, you are hitting so hard that Janemba players have problems just to stay alive. Yep. He has another win con, which is in his side. I would argue that maybe this should come into the main board itself, and maybe we could play 1 less Great Saiyaman. I don't know, but this is definitely a very good win con. When it comes to the vanilla Goku, it's so good. The reason why is because of the Super Saiyan Son Goku and the Super Saiyan Vegeta. With this too, you could play Gogeta Hero Revived. So this is a really good card to play, because these are vanilla cards that you could spam it out from your board. With Krillin or Son Goku, when it comes to Son Goku, you tap 2, you get to choose an energy cost 3 or less, which is he choose to play the Great Saiyaman, maybe to keep it to the theme of science. So but with this guy in your hands, these 2 guys in your hands, you could summon out Gogeta, which it's legit a very powerful game ender, because if you don't get good and draw the negate, you are dead against this guy. Yep. Alright, let's take a look at the other decks. I should have used Firefox for this. The reason why I'm not using Firefox browser here, it's because for some reason, Shenron's Lair, when there is a huge board like that, the arrangement goes goes haywire. So it was already, this thing was below the leader and stuff like that, and I don't really like it. So I'm using Chrome right now. However, Chrome has this problem. I do not know how to shuffle from like a tab to tab like easily. Alright, so Ramco Lawton. I'm sorry if you're listening, I'm butchering your names. I apologize for that. Top 8, Frieza, Golden Frieza, the final assailant. So if you're thinking and you said that, oh, is the Universe 7 deck coming back? The answer is no. You are wrong. They are not back. It's just that it is always the home package, the Height of Mastery package, together with a different leader. There are so many leaders that could play the Height of Mastery package, because it is not just tied down to a lineage leader, which many people argue, and I understand the argument here. So it is just the Height of Mastery package together with different leaders. So the reason why people are playing Frieza, this particular U7 Frieza leader, is because he is such a great card. The reason why is this: so he doesn't need to swing, and he gets the card draw so fast, and he populates your drop area so that you can time magic yourself using the life to restand the blow, right? So you could use your life and you can time magic. So you get access to yellow, which is time magic. You get access to Sugash, which I still don't know why this card still has not Bandai has not do anything to this card, because if you're yellow you can play this. This is such a powerful card that is too generic in my opinion. Alright, and so you get the card draw, and you get mega card draw with that, and also at the same time you get access to Sugash, and you don't need to swing to get this. If you are going for the victory strike, I'm sorry, you just don't need to swing. Alright, so this is the package. Something out of the ordinary? Nothing much. It is pretty standard. So adoptive father-son instead of Bardock, because Bardock is Ben. Other than that, nothing much over here. So if we take a look at his sideboard, which is he plays 3 Death Ball, which is very good card against things like Broly's deck, where the Broly is always in the rest mode, and then you just use this, activate battle, and just KO it using your leader. You could do that, why not? And Other than that, nothing much. He is prepared for against a Janemba player, Tian Han, and a Dimension Magic Fool, and of course for a similar matchup, maybe Kronoa. I'm not too sure if I would like to play Kronoa against like Sugash though, because if the opponent is playing 2 Sugash, I think that is pretty good. However, with Planet Vegeta, which he is playing 2 of, you could just grab Sugash just like that. You definitely have a Sugash in your hands, so maybe time control Konoha might be a good option to really play. At 2 off, I'm not too sure. My stand against when it comes to Silver Bullets is this, that it always punishes. It benefits no one. It punishes the player who plays it. The reason is it takes up space in your deck, and if you don't draw it, your opponent goes rampant with Sugash, then I'm sorry, it's too bad for you. You wasted 3 space and he already Sugash, right? And if your opponent doesn't Sugash, and then if you draw it, so what? Yeah, it's still 3 slots in your deck. You can't sideboard in the first game. That means that your time control Konoha will always be there. Will always be in the sideboard. In your first game, your opponent will always Sugash. And if you're not playing against an opponent that's playing Sugash, then this is a waste in your main board. If you're playing against an opponent who's playing Sugash, you let him Sugash in the first turn, and then in the second turn or third turn, after you sideboard Konoha out, if you don't draw it, it's still a dead card in your hands, right? So that's my stand when it comes to Sugash. Alright, he plays a lot of negates and 3 Battering Laser. Why not? Because when this victory strike goes in, you just Battering Laser the negate that is gonna come out. He can't be negated, I'm sorry, but anything that uses, for example, when he swings with Height of Mastery, you could use Time Magic just to take it out. This universe presentation of representative of Universe 7. When it comes to this, you could I'm sorry, it was my neighbor pouring some stuff. Alright, so that's it. When your opponents swing with things that can use, for example, like Time Magic or something, they could use their life to negate, even though you tap out with this Battering Laser it and just remove it. It is so difficult to deal with a deck like that. That's why it is so strong. This card itself, it's crazy. For the cost, it is not, because it is actually very difficult to bring it out, but when it comes to Path to Greatness, this card just does too much for a 3 cost 19k. I'm sorry, I really think Bardox was not the problem. This card is the problem. It should be tagged to a lineage leader, really, because take a look at what's happening now. There is still so much decks that are like Height of Mastery. Alright, so let's talk about next deck, the last of the top 8. So Aaron Cupping. Okay, it is another Janemba. So we have 1 Skillless Goku, 1 Height of Mastery, 1 Janemba, and 2 Janembas right now. So let's take a look at his deck. So no Self-Awakening cards in the main deck, and interesting, Time Ruler Towa. So Time Ruler Towa, it's pretty interesting because you get the cards. The reason is this, right? Because if you kill things like Kid Goku or the Android 8, they could always use Power Burst to bring the cards back. But if you take Time Ruler Towa, you steal it, and if you don't swing it, they have no ways to remove it from your board. They cannot take the cards back. And just for 3 costs itself, I will argue it's pretty efficient. This is a 4 overrealm. Yep, for 4 overrealm itself, you get to steal things that are 2 or less and just steal it. This is such a great card if you're playing Veggie's Mirror, because you can steal their Kappa. However, when it comes to this particular deck, it is pretty nice. Of course, he plays Hidden Powers. And then it comes to Time Creator, just in case he plays Konoha in the main board. So it's like I said, it's losing 2 space when it comes to the main board itself, but he's playing even more cards just so that he draws the cards that he needs. Yeah. Power overseeing time for the Janemba matchup, mirror matchup, and most probably when he sees that, okay, this is getting crazy, that he is really facing a Kid Goku matchup, that he wants to ramp up his number of time control Konoha. And other than that, pretty standard. What is interesting right now is that so far what we have seen is that when it comes to Janemba board, main board has nothing to self-awaken. So maybe they're looking at, okay, there will be more decks that are more aggressive rather than passive. But we saw that there's already one Frieza deck out there that is a very passive deck that is just not doing anything until it gets the victory strike out. Alright? So maybe they were caught off guard, but they do sideboard in Awakening Talent Pen when it comes to that. Another interesting part is so far only 2 Psyche Demon rocking out is being played for both decks. So 4 seems to be the correct number that the community agrees right now, and only 1 Boros token. Okay, take a look at the next one. Now we go to the top 4. So Evans top 4 deck profile. Let's take a look at this one. Shenron Gogeta in top 4. This is so good. Alright, so if you don't know how Shenron Gogeta works, it is about ramping. So you ram, and you ram up to what you want on your board is you want Shenron Figure of Majesty on your board, and then if you're at turn 5, this guy, it's on your board, you have this guy in your hands, and you have this guy and this guy in your hands, you are ready to go, right? So Super Saiyan Son Goku, you saw that at in the Skillless Goku deck. The difference is the 4-4. So you have 4 Vegetas and you have 4 Super Saiyan Son Gokus. However, the difference is that for Shenron Ram, they usually play at all costs, because at all costs is definitely a better deck. It is not a better card, it is not skillless, and it allows you to do some board control, because you can take 2 lives and then you pop a card, it gains triple strike, and whatever energies you have, if you have 5, it gains 15k, so it reaches a 35k using Shenron's Figure of Majesty. Then you get you can push him up to is it 15? 10k, so 35k, 10k, 45k, and then you can use him to give him critical. Then it's pretty crazy. And not to say that you get to also draw a card when you play him. When you play him at 4 energy, you get to untap 1 of your energy, and then you get to draw a card. So definitely a very good card to have in your deck, because it's 2020. It is able to bring out it is able to do the Union Fusion, because Union Fusion needs the cards to be in your hands, and then their power levels needs to be equal. They don't need the energy level, you just need the power level to be equal. Alright, so nothing much to say about this deck except heavily Wizard Demigra. So during your turn, when you combo with this card, so for 0 cost you get an extra 5k combo. If your opponent has 3 or less energy, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle card, ignoring barrier with 30k or more, and KO it. This is their answer to dealing with Broly, right? Because green, you have the father-son Kamehameha. When it comes to Frieza, you have the Death Ball. When it comes to other colors, you could use this because it has no leaders restriction. Nope. So you can ignore barrier, 30k, more power, just KO it if your opponent has 3 or less energy, because usually when you're playing against Broly, that is always the case. Yep. And to the Boros is in the Psych deck. He plays only 1 token Boros. If he gets it, he gets it. If not, he doesn't care. Dragon Raider for the draw, I could imagine, and maybe the 1-star ball just to drop all this the cards into the drop area, and World Peace this guy. Because the Ram is not so aggressive, I would imagine that he would want to play this from hand and not from the drop area. However, this guy, you could just World Peace out, and you get to draw 2 cards, and then you get to choose 2 of your opponent's card and then just slot it in. Yep, so definitely a very, very strong deck. One of our local players plays that, and he plays it pretty well. It is very difficult to deal with if your deck is not equipped to deal with that. Basically, I think you can say that to every single other decks, but that's that. All right, so this is the top 8. This is the top 4. Is it top 4? Yes, this is the top 4 deck profile over here. Let's take a look at Oliver Hopkins, another freezer deck. Let's take a look. So passive freezer, he puts in blue here, more blue, because he plays Sensu, he plays Objection, at all costs Vegeta, which are all blue. And if we take a look, of course, 2 times Sugash and 2 times the Universe of Backbone, because your leader is Universe 7. You get to you get to combo at 5 life. He plays 1 Explosive Spirit Son Goku and 1 this is for the Sugash also, right? Because when you Sugash, your opponent goes all in. If you have Explosive Spirit Son Goku, you could use this just to do it. And he plays a Frieza package. This is interesting because I would like to know how, with the Height of Mastery package, right? How good is the Frieza package itself? Because when it comes to the Frieza package, I love the Frieza package and I want to get the Frieza package. I hope in the future there is ways to bring this Frieza out. This Frieza, it's extremely strong, so I could imagine why they don't want to do it. So he wants to go very, very defensive until he gets it off, and he finished the game with it. This card unfortunately does not work because the leader has to be green. But however, I do not know why though. Because he has Height of Mastery to bring this guy out. So maybe he's thinking of something here. This guy is triple attack, right? So triple attack critical, so you get to swing, you just don't get to choose the card and drop it. So maybe he thinks that might work. I'm not gonna argue with him. He is top 4, right? So definitely, I think he knows what he is doing. He main bought this, and of course, when it comes to power overseeing time, it is for Janemba matchup. If anybody mills his Height of Mastery, not Height of the cards that he needs, battle card that he needs, power overseeing time brings it back to your hands. No limitation. Any battle cards that is sent to Warp just brings it back to your hands. Alright. So that's that. This is more of the defensive deck, definitely, because he plays 3 Nimbus, 3 Time Magic. You could argue and said, hey, the other guy plays more negates than this guy, but the negates is not the only defensive card. Sensu Bean, it's a very, very defensive card, right? And also Objection, he wants to ram and he wants to finish it as soon as possible. Yep, so I would imagine this guy is not gonna swing, he's not gonna attack, he's going for Victory Strike. But if your opponent is very aggressive when it comes to Self-Awakening like Broly, then maybe he would go for the game by swinging. Yep, he can go aggressive if he wants to with Height of Mastery. Alright, so that's that. Now we come to the top 2. So this is second place, runner up, Ashton Balcom. I realized that I was told that I am not butchering his name, so that's good. There is no sideboard here. I don't understand why, but maybe because there is no access to the sideboard. If you guys want to watch the game between Ashton Balcom and Jason Barker, I have it. I did a commentary. in my channel, so just check it out. It is the UKGE Game Expo in Birmingham finals commentary. So it's my first time doing commentary, not my first time, right? My first time commentary on a solid games, like really it's a very interesting game. So I would really recommend to check it out. Of course, it's my video. Check out my video, all right? So if you take a look, it is pretty standard. Difference is this Ashton here plays Saiki Demon Rocking Out. If you take a look at how he plays his Janimba deck, that is the top 2 Janimba. He is very aggressive. So he takes life. So instead of protecting himself, you could see how the deck is being set up, right? Because usually a lot of decks runs 12 super combos. That means 8 of the pseudo super combo, Cell and Unbreakable Sangoku, and then 4 real super combo. Ashton does not do that. He does 4 super. He just runs 8 pseudo super combos, and then he just goes for it. He mills really aggressive because he will tap himself out just so that to mill you. So that's why I could understand why he plays 4-4, because he wants to get the engine going as soon as possible. Alright, 8 negates, 4 Sensubin, 1 unyielding Spirit Trunks, 3 Boros, so that you can draw a card, Sangoku, 2-time Ruler Toa. You can see that people are really prepared for Skillless Goku matchup. And then when it comes to all-inspiring Intimidator, I really love this card. However, if you can get to 5 energy in this meta. Yep. So let's take a look when the anniversary box comes out, because that time Supreme Kai of Time, that 1 drop negates the attack, and then your opponent cannot swing with cards 2 or less for the duration of the turn. Is a really solid card. I hope that card would lengthen the game. Alright, if that is the case, get ready. All inspiring Vegito, it's gonna come back. So that means if you have not bought it, please go and get yourself a playset. Yep, just in case the game's lengthen. I could imagine this card is something that we will see pretty often. Yep. Alright, let's take a look at the champion's deck profile. Skillless Goku blue variants. Alright, if you take a look at his deck profile, he has 2 win con when it comes to that. This Demigra and a Hero Gogeta Heroes Revived. I saw it, he plays this. It's incredible. He win games, 2 games he won by just slapping down Beyond Darkness Demigra. This is such a good card for 5 energy, and if you're playing black anyways, look at the amount of black cards that you have in your drop area. So reaching the 7 is not exactly very difficult. Alright, he like all Skillless Goku, Self-Awakening, it's in the main board. You pull yourself to 6 and then you don't do anything. He plays Dabura over the Great Saiyaman. I will argue that this is definitely a wrong choice. The Great Saiyaman is the better 3-drop right there, because it's the Great Saiyaman. Of course, I'm bullshitting. Don't spam me in the comment section because of this particular comment. But if you are coming here, if you're listening until now, a big thanks to you, right? I know it's not so easy to stay like a focus in such videos for such a long time. If you managed to do it, kudos and thank you. Alright, so nothing really out of the ordinary when it comes to the main board. He plays 3 copies of Furthering Destruction Champa, so take note, please. East Supreme Kai, I don't know, play Champa. Just Champa. Just Champa. Alright, just Champa. But, you know, if you're playing East Supreme Kai, I still love you. We really need to spread more love in this world. Yep. So of course the Konoha Heavenly Wizard is for the Broly matchup. I would imagine Haru to punish Broly. I would imagine also Tianxin Han for against Janemba, and Masayan against Skillless Goku. Bardock's fully unleashed against Broly, I'm sorry, and also group leader Pilaf. This is a good card, but I would imagine what he wants to use it for, right? I'm trying to understand what he wants to use it for. This card is definitely going into my main deck for a lot of reasons if I'm playing blue, because he is such a great card. For example, if your opponent swings in with something that has swap, you buy yourself one turn, because for one energy you could remove the keyword swap, and your opponent has a card that is tapped on the board that he needs to swap it in. So you could use something just to swing it. You swing it so high anyways and make your opponent waste cards from their hands. If not, they are breaking the chain when it comes to swap. So I would imagine that Jason Barker, if you're watching this video, correct me if I'm wrong, you are there for a swap. But if not, maybe it's for people who are trying to go for the game ender, and then like double strike, triple strike, group leader Pilaf, or like hide or mastery. You could just say, if you still have the energy that is open, right, you could use group leader Pilaf and say triple strike or a dual attack, something like that. Yep, when it comes to Mafuba, definitely you need to have it. It's such a great card. Alright, when you're playing blue. So that is the deck profile for the top 8. I hope I did a good coverage on them and analyzed the different deck profile. What I like to see here is that what I'm liking right now is that, alright, there is a 2 skillless Goku, which is blue, the blue variant. And also when it comes to Janemba, we have 1, 2, 3 Janemba, 2 Hide of Mastery that uses Frieza, the passive type, and then one Shangeta. So this is really, in my opinion, quite diverse. Of course, we can make do with even more diversity when it comes to deck profiles. But I think for a card game, this is really good enough. It's much better than in the past where all we had was SS3, 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 SS3. Yep. So this is pretty good. I love it. When I am told that the ARG events in Indie happens, I am gonna cover that, the top 8 deck profiles when it comes to ARG, and let's hope to see some diversity over there too. And we can maybe have a gauge by the end of that video how healthy it is. If you're gonna ask me and said, what is my opinion right now? How healthy is this meta? Definitely we have some problems, but all card games have their problems. Either some prices for some cards are going too crazy that a reprint is required, or some decks are too dominant that we need a ban or errata list right there. But so far, I think, in my opinion, definitely we need some things needs to be done. For example, in my opinion, that the Hide of Mastery deck, it's a little bit too strong. Kid Goku, it's very dominant right now. We need maybe a little bit more answer for that. Janemba, I'm not too sure about that, but you can see the 3 Janemba makes it up to the top 8 in this deck profile. So let's take a look at the indies and let's see how prevalent these particular decks are in the indies. I could imagine Hide of Mastery, Janemba, Skillless Goku, they are still gonna dominate the meta. Alright, so without further ado, like, I'm not gonna keep on babbling. If you have any comments, please in the comment section. You know I always reply. If not, wish you a nice day. See you in the next video. Alright, ciao.